Now, the majority of the action towards the end of the Hungarian Grand Prix centred around one man, which was Valtteri Bottas. He was caught up in two incidents. Firstly with Sebastian Vettel, where he lost a bit of his front wing, and then secondly with a damaged car colliding with Daniel Ricciardo. Now, he got a penalty for the second clash, so we'll start with that one. I'm joined by Andrew van der Burgt, Autosport Media's editor-in-chief. Now, this has been an interesting one because it's quite rare that Autosport journalists disagree on incidents, and it's actually annoying because we want to have debates sometimes, and then we all come forward with our opinions and we all say the same thing.
Violently
but we
agree.
Yeah, we seem to be split on this one.
Yeah.
And there's been a discussion on the Autosport podcast already, which is out today, about this incident and about Bottas's, his last few laps, and it will get about a hand. Where do you stand on the Ricciardo incident, which he got the penalty for? Because Ricciardo went down the outside, Bottas locks up with a damaged car, and they collide, and Bottas gets a penalty for it.
Yeah, I think that one is a little bit of a done deal, really. It was amazing if you're watching the TV coverage. You had Horner live on TV going, "What we got to watch out for? He doesn't understeer in," and then it literally happens live on air. And I think Bottas knew he had a damaged car, and he was fighting a losing battle there. I could see why, the adrenaline was pumping, his temperature was up, having, thrown away that second place. But I don't think you can really argue about that. I mean, Ricciardo left him as much room as you really reasonably could through there. Yet with that damaged front wing, he just understeered into him. So I think that's fair enough. And also the penalty he got didn't affect ultimately his position in the race. I guess one of the things I fundamentally is like the racing incidents thing now, like, it's interesting, we have this Ayrton Senna model. To me, unless it's as blatant as what happened at Suzuka that time, I'd just rather see them race. And occasionally people drive into each other, and that just happens, this whole idea that there has to be blame every single time and we have to have all these incidents. I mean, come on, they're racing drivers, just let them race.
I think that's the frustrating thing, isn't it? Why are we in a situation now where if there's contact as a consequence of people trying to race, why do we have to have a penalty for it? I wasn't working this weekend. I was watching from my sofa, which is quite rare, and I felt quite relaxed about the whole thing. And I would counter the argument that Bottas should have known what was happening with so should Ricciardo. If we've got Ricciardo's team boss on the pit wall saying, "Oh, we got to be careful if you're going around the outside," there's no disputing that Daniel Ricciardo is one of the best, if not the best, wheel-to-wheel racer on the F1 grid. Yeah. So should he just be thinking, "I'll go down the outside, I'll let him lock up and run wide, and I go back the other way"? Why did he have to turn in on him? I
think that's an excellent point, actually. It's to play in the percentages, and to me that was the problem I have with the first incident, is that as soon as Bottas had got that oversteer, he was entering the corner and Vettel was alongside him, that was lost. That corner was lost. What was he disputing diving down the inside there? It didn't have anything to gain.
But was he diving down the inside?
Yeah,
he wasn't diving. He was already pushed there by Vettel, wasn't he?
Yeah, he could have eased it off and just let him through and kept third place. If he'd have played the percentages, he could have held on to third, whereas he ended up finishing fifth. And that, I think that was his short-term nature. And you see it a lot, especially in junior Formula now. And there was that absolutely horrific crash in that Blancpain race at Spa, where people aren't playing the percentages on these things, and it's every corner has to be fought for all the time. And it played a longer game. Third place is still better than fifth. Okay, it's not as good as second, but Bottas didn't. He wasn't playing that in his mind.
But talking of playing the percentages, Sebastian Vettel's the man who had a world championship to fight, or has a world championship to fight for. Should he be playing the percentages in terms of leaving a little bit of room? Because, ironically, someone who's come under fire this year is Kevin Magnussen for his wheel-to-wheel racing. He went through the first two corners with Daniel Ricciardo earlier in the race, and they both actually left just half a car's width through both the corners, got through and had a really good battle where nobody really lost out. Vettel's fighting for a world championship. He's already lost the race to Lewis Hamilton. Should he be leaving a bit of room when he's racing Hamilton's teammate?
He probably should have been maybe a little bit more circumspect, but I also think in his mind the move was just done, taking the racing line and I'm off. I don't think he thought that Bottas was going to even bother trying to contest the corner. So yeah, maybe he should have left him a little bit more room, but I still think that he was right to think that corner was going to be his by that point. And I can see why he would have been frustrated. The time he lost behind Sainz in the traffic, them making a mistake in the pit stop, which meant we would have come out in front of him. It also denied us a great race, because I'm pretty sure he would have got close enough to Hamilton on the ultra softs to put Hamilton under a bit of pressure. I think it's highly unlikely he would have overtaken him, but we would have had that tension, of like, oh, can you get close enough? Is the traffic going to play a part? We didn't have that in the end, did we?